The blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
Why don't we just wait here for a little while? See what happens.
Do you want to die, Sydney?
For England, James? No.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Fill your hand, you son of a bitch!
Look what you did to him!
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
As you can see, I'm not happy.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Macho Movie Madness.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Brandon. Alongside me always is Andrew, and today we are talking Robocop.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember the last time we covered Robocop really on this channel. Do you?
I think we did a podcast in maybe 2018 on all three movies, maybe all four movies. I think we touched on maybe the sequel, the reboot from 2014.
Oh, yeah.
The less we talk about that, the better.
Yeah, it was okay, but it's not this. It's not, it's completely unnecessary. So Robocop, one of the greatest sci-fi action thriller movies of all time. Peter Weller, also one of the most, he's the most underrated. He's awesome though.
Yeah,
like no one talks. Peter Weller's great in everything.
I think it's his own fault for choosing such quirky roles. Really,
probably so.
When you look at things like Naked Lunch and Buckaroo Banzai and that kind of stuff.
What was the one we just watched with? What? Damn it! What was it? It was he was the lawyer.
Oh, and Shakedown.
That was a good movie though.
Yeah, that was the follow up to this.
Yeah. Yes, that was a good movie. But yeah, he's always got some kind of weird. He's been appearing here as an older man. He's been appearing like in shows, random TV shows. I don't know. Was he in Justified? I know he was like in Sons of Anarchy, for instance. I think he was in Dexter. He's always in something like that, and he's always got a very similar role in that, where he's just kind of like a badass or an asshole of some kind. But I love him in all of those roles, no matter what. He's great, and he's really likable in this. And that was one of the points I was going to make later, but I guess we can just go ahead and get into it. One thing about this movie that I always appreciated and always messed with me as a kid, especially when I watched it way too young, is how likable Alex Murphy was, and he made Alex Murphy feel in just a short amount of time leading up to that terrible murder.
Yeah. I think that has to be chalked up to Paul Verhoeven and the Mr. Neumeyer, the guy who wrote the script, just make him so likable before you just brutally execute him.
Dude, it's rough. And the younger you are, the harder it is to watch. You're like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Not just the violence,
does, but in that short time where he actually gets to show his face, where he's doing the DJ laser thing and, twirling his gun and putting it in his holster, that pays off later in the movie, and all that's just so well done.
It is. It's very well done. And his chemistry with Nancy Allen, I think, is great, who plays Officer Lewis, his partner in this. Very interesting. And of course, Robocop takes place late 80s. It came out in 87 in a fictional Detroit, basically. I guess it's not even fictional. Detroit's really that messed up. Other than a few of the more colorful gangs and stuff you get in the later movies, it's probably pretty messed up. But this is this movie is like political satire. It's sci-fi, it's action, it's everything.
How
And
many movies do you know that begin with a newscast? That's crazy,
I know,
but
right?
it works.
It does. It works so well. And that's actually one thing, the new game that just come out, Rogue City.
Yeah,
It began with a newscast, and then you have to basically come in and take they take over the news station, the terrorists do, or the gang does, and you have to go in and stop them. Basically, that's just the opening of the game, which I think, by the way, not to get too far off on that, is very underrated. Very cool game. You can tell the people who made it absolutely loved the movie, and really reverted back to, like, they really like resourced that, like, you know what I'm trying to say, like they really paid attention to
did their
detail.
research.
They did research.
Brandon actually played that on this channel, so be sure and watch that demo.
Yeah, I did. I played. It's fun, and it's like $30 or $40, and it's totally worth it. Like, you can just tell that they had a lot of attention to detail there. A lot of love was put into that. But anyway, yeah, this movie, man, this kind of hits all the marks if you're a fan of sci-fi action.
Yeah,
And if you kind of want that added, like, political satire in there, I like that.
yeah, and the gore hounds, because this is a gory movie, man.
I can't forget the gore. It really is dude. I mean, Alex Murphy's death is, like I said, it's shocking.
Yeah, it's funny. Paul Verhoeven said in some interviews that he was making fun of, big American. This was his first stateside movie. He was making fun of big American movies and the violence in them. This was a satire on that. But that became his trademark when you look at movies like this and Total Recall. Later, Starship Troopers has a little bit of that later on. So it's funny that he was making fun of it, but that's what he became.
Just excessive violence. Just over the top. And the characters are really gritty and over the top too. Like, really, like Kurtwood Smith.
Yes.
I love Kurtwood Smith in this movie. You talk about Red Foreman, man. Like, this is Red Foreman up to 11.
Yeah.
This is if Red Foreman went bad.
We did a favorite villains episode, and he's my favorite villain of all time. Just the performance in this. That scene where he goes in to execute Morton at his house, and he's doing the cocaine off the hooker's boobs, and he's like, "Bitches leave."
Yeah, bitches leave. Just in that Kurtwood Smith voice. Bitches leave. Just give me my freaking phone call.
Yeah. That whole scene where he's sizing down the guy at the narc warehouse, and they've got guns on each other. Guns.
Yeah.
Come on, man! I got to watch the Tigers tonight. I love Kurtwood Smith in this.
Dude, he's so crazy. Yeah, he's great. He's a perfect villain. And the one that, like, leads his group. He's not the big bad, obviously. Dick is, but he's working for him. But he is, like, the head of his group, and he's not afraid to get his hands dirty either.
Yeah,
I love it. So for those who may be living under a rock, do we want to, like, give everybody kind of just a brief rundown of the story? We kind of just jumped right into what we love about this movie. It's just not very, we don't like structure here.
No, this is
as much as we try.
Picasso type review. It's more abstract.
Yeah. Just listen and love it. That's what just learn to love it. For those living under a rock, or for some reason stumble upon this that may not have seen this, give you a brief rundown. So this mega corporation, and like I said, this is a political satire. This is a satire on so many things. Big America. So this this mega corporation, OCP, which is like Omni Consumer Products or something like that. The city of Detroit grants them basically the power or control over the Detroit Police Department. We weaponize them, basically, is what they do. They give them and because the city, which is set in kind of like a very near future, it's been crime ridden. It's just been taken over by gangs and just so much violence, drugs. So they give them this access to the police department, And so they create this prototype called Ed 209, which is this giant walking robot tank thing. And during it, they bring it in during this executive meeting where they just call him the old man. He's like the head of OCP. It's played by Dan O'Harely, which is Connell Cochran in Halloween 3, one of our favorites, right? So he's just addressed as the old man in this, or he's credited as the old man. He's having this meeting. His I guess what is his right hand is the senior president, Dick Jones, who's the bad guy in this, one of the bad guys in this, the main bad guy, brings Ed 209 in, and Ed 209 basically malfunctions during this meeting and kills an executive because they were doing this test basically when they gave the guy a gun and said, okay, point it, and then it would show what he would do during this situation. And he's, he has to drop
down your weapon. You have 20 seconds to comply.
Yeah. Well, it malfunctions and he counts down to 0, even though the guy threw the gun away and is unarmed, and he blows the dude away. And super brutal, just bloody, obviously over the top, like we talked about. And the funniest thing about this, Andrew, tell them.
Oh,
the funniest thing about this scene after the executive dies.
This entire scene to me is hilarious because.
Oh yeah.
I'll get to that in a second, but you've got the dream of this Delta city, this pristine white city, and this bloody corpse gets shot all over.
Yeah. Everyone's just like, ah.
Well, the best one. So, will somebody get a paramedic after this guy's taking 30 rounds in his chest?
Yeah, big rounds too. Like his chest is just like exploded on this model or whatever. And somebody get a paramedic.
At one point, in a very Freudian line, the old man looks at Dick Jones and says, "Dick, I'm very disappointed in you."
Yeah,
this is just a minor setback.
yeah. I'm very disappointed. Like, I'm not disappointed in the murder of one of my executives, just in the fact that we malfunctioned.
Yeah,
this malfunction. So anyway, when that malfunctioned, they basically can't release this thing yet. So this, I guess, was it the junior executive? What was his name?
Bob Morton.
Bob Morton. So Bob Morton has his own pet project, which is the Robocop project, and he basically talks him into doing this. They just have to find the right man. Well, Alex Murphy comes along his first day on the force. Well, the first day in Detroit, on that force, in that precinct, brutally gets killed by Clarence Bodiger and his group of wacky boys in this warehouse. And so that's kind of where it came from. And they initiate the project with him, and he becomes Robocop.
Yeah.
The rest of the movie is just him doing really cool shit as Robocop, and then obviously working to bring down Clarence Bodiger and his gang, and then which leads to them finding out Dick Jones is behind it. And then of course along the way you also got that inner struggle between like his memories, his brain or whatever, like the human side of Alex Murphy
that they thought they wiped clean.
That they thought they wiped clean is coming out in this robot now, and he's starting to remember things. He's remembering his wife and has these terrible like flashback visions of his wife and his family beforehand. And that's pretty cool, and which obviously leads up to that scene at the end, that payoff where the old man asks, "What's your name, son?" and he says Murphy, and he grins and walks off. So just like really
that's
poetic,
a very
really
satisfying
cool
ending.
It's a very good ending. It's a very good movie all around.
Yeah,
you can't really say the same for the other two. Which, don't get me wrong, I love RoboCop 2.
It's fun,
and RoboCop 3 has its moments, even though it's bad. But yeah, this is 100% hands down one of the best sci-fi action movies ever.
Yeah. And we're talking about him systematically, going and taking out all Boddicker's goons. Another great scene is that scene at the gas station where he takes out Emil, the guy who eventually disintegrates when he's hit by the car.
Yes.
And that great scene, where he's like, "I know you, we killed you." And, the whole thing blows up. I love that scene. From that point on, this movie, it's funny because it borrows a lot. It's very Western. He gets gunned down, a local lawman, and comes back for revenge. But it also, at times, it feels kind of like a Frankenstein movie. There, where the SWAT team turns on him and starts firing, and Lewis saves him. You know,
Yeah.
you've got basically the town turning, on Frankenstein with torches. I was watching it last night, and I'm like, man, and all the good ones do that. They
That's
borrow
a really good
lot.
point. Yeah, but that's timeless stuff. That's a timeless story. The Western, especially, that you can always get away with that in some way, and it never get really old. That the one of my favorite scenes is that first night on the town, man. That first assignment where he goes in the convenience store and takes care of that dude, but also right after that in the alley where these guys are like basically sexual assaulting this woman or trying to, and he ends up shooting. It shoots through the bottom of her dress and shoots his dick. That was
my son walked in during that scene. He's like, "Oh, that guy's getting shot in the dick." That's the scene everybody knows from this movie.
Yeah. Even if you haven't seen all of it, that's what you know. And that's another funny thing about the game too. If you aim at their dick, they actually react like, oh, and then die. Just like I said, that the little attention to detail is important.
Yep.
But yeah, this is guys, this is a super good movie. Nancy Allen's awesome as Lewis.
Yes.
Love her. You probably know Nancy Allen from Carrie if you like horror movies or you like old horror movies. Daniel Hurley, like I said, is Conal Cochran in Halloween. Kurtwood Smith, one of the best ever. Not a lot of stuff, but Red Foreman. Everybody knows him as Red Foreman.
The guy who played Dick Jones in this movie had been a good guy in everything up till this point. And this kind of typecast him because Verhoeven would use him again in Total Recall as the main bad guy.
Yeah, dude, and he's a good bad guy though.
Like, come on, Paul, give these people air.
I can kind of see why he was really good at it. I would probably typecast that asshole too. This one here, man, I was gonna give the budget to everybody. What was the budget on this thing? $13 million.
Wow.
Like even in '87. That's what less than Red Scorpion that we just did on Warehouse B.
Yeah.
That's crazy. This movie is like, especially
I bet it fared better than Red Scorpion.
What? Well, it box office 53.4 million.
I'm surprised that's all it was.
Yeah, I am too. It's like, I don't know what. I don't know if it's because of the excessive violence. Maybe the political satire wasn't quite there yet, because I think a lot of it was a play or a rebuke of Reaganomics, and which is kind of what They Live was, too. John Carpenter's obviously spoken out against Reaganomics and all that, but that's what you get out of Hollywood. But yeah, I don't know, like what this is also Orion Pictures movie, so Orion was pretty big back in the day. A lot of movies anyway.
That's the only reason this got made, actually. I think his name was Ed Neumeyer that wrote the script. He got laughed out of every studio in town, and Orion had done the Terminator, and so they took a chance on it.
Oh, okay.
Just based on the title, which is ridiculous when you think about it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, because you look at this title and you wonder, like, why out of all of the other crazy names that are similar to this, does this one catch on? Right. Would you call this a B movie?
I think at heart it's a B movie.
Yeah, like just a very top of the line B movie. Like maybe the top, probably the highest you could get is on that scale.
Yeah.
I don't know. What did you think about, like, so obviously we love practical effects.
Squibs everywhere, man. Love it in this movie.
Yeah, for sure.
The guy that gets shot in the jimmy, that looked painful when that squib went off.
Dude, for sure. The only thing that which I actually don't mind it now, I think the stop motion is what kind of might get some people. Yeah. It doesn't hold up as well. The Ed 209 especially. I'm that weird kind of guy. I enjoy that stop motion. It makes him look otherworldly, like it doesn't belong. And like I really like that scene where it's comical. The scene where he's trying to go down the stairs and can't, and he falls down. He's feeling like a pig. Like, man, for something that was made out of stop motion or clay or whatever, that is awesome. It really was. Like, obviously it definitely looks otherworldly. It looks something looks off. So but I was watching it the other day. I'm like, again, and I'm like, man, even though it looks out of place still after all this time on my Blu-ray, at the same time, think of the work they did to make it as smooth as they possibly could.
Yeah.
For 87 on all that budget. Like, I don't know, like I don't know much about it, so I don't know how hard it is. I imagine it's probably a pain in the ass. It's I can forgive it, man. It's not bad.
And when every movement's a different shot, there's a lot of work that went into that.
For sure. Yeah. For sure. Just like little by little, God, I don't know. Like, that's crazy.
A little fun factoid about Ed 209. When they put the grill on him, it didn't look right. So they flipped it upside down to make him look like he looks kind of like a great white or something.
Yeah. That's cool.
I love Ed 209 and all that stop motion stuff. It works in this case.
For sure. I guess we want to talk pros and cons and rate it, I guess. I guess now that I say that, I don't know if I have any cons. Obviously there's not a pacing issue.
No.
There's not an acting issue at all. The characters are over the top, but it's supposed to be. I feel like in a world where Ed 209 exists, everybody else is just really comic booky or otherworldly too. Like, it's definitely very fictionalized.
The one guy, I can't remember who he's credited as. He's the African American actor, and his laugh. Oh my goodness! Every time he spoke,
the one that he
like every time, like
he was the one that. He's the one at the end that was like almost like mischievously grinning when Dick Jones got killed, right?
No, I'm talking to the guy in Clarence Boddickers.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. He was having an overly good time.
Laughing that guy does. Yeah, it got on my nerves. That's the only thing I can really think of. I mean, I could see if you're squeamish, don't watch Alex Murphy's death scene for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
because I mean they're not just brutally massacring him; they're also mocking him, and like it's rough, dude. Like it's pretty torturous. It's crazy.
I'm surprised they got by with all that. Honestly,
I am too. I don't know. I don't know. They somehow did, man. Especially the how graphic it was, them blowing his hand off, and man, it was rough.
Yeah, but I do love the visceralness of this movie. That scene in particular, the scene where he stabs Clarence Boddicker with that spike. You don't see him actually stab him, but the blood splatter from that scene is wild.
Yeah, it's gross. I mean, everything at the end there was gross. That sewage, sewage plant or whatever.
Yeah, Emil.
Yeah, and him running over him and him exploding after he got that toxic waste.
Man.
Yeah, dude, it was rough. But I mean, think of how much had to be modified for this movie just to get in the theater.
Yeah.
Crazy. Just to get the R rating. And I think they toned it down a little bit in 2, didn't they? But it was still pretty.
Yeah, there was still quite a bit of stuff in 2.
And then 3 was just full on PG-13. Like they did not go crazy with 3. And I don't know
at the box office.
Yeah, which is funny because it's coming from a time where McDonald's was selling toys, and I'd say I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I know that's what happened with like Batman Returns, or Batman Returns still got toys, but I think that's what happened with Batman Forever. They really went that opposite direction because McDonald's wanted to sell toys and all this other shit, so it took a big hit, and Tim Burton left. So I didn't know if that the 90s was just one of those things where everything was kind of going the other direction because of that. They wanted to be more mainstream and sell more products elsewhere. I remember all the Robocop toys when I was a kid, and I had several of them. They were cool as hell. Yeah. So,
but that's all I can think of as far as on the con side. On the pro side, the score to this movie by Basil Polidorus. Oh my goodness!
Yeah, the score was incredible.
Yeah, he also did Conan the Barbarian, which has a great score.
Oh. Okay.
But yeah, this thing, the RoboCop march, is an amazing piece of score.
Does that not get you pumped every time you hear it?
That makes me want to go waste bad guys.
For sure.
Shoot them in the gym.
Yeah, shoot him right in the jimmy. I mean, I agree, man. Like everything about this movie is just awesome. I don't have a lot of cons. I don't really any cons for me. Don't watch the remake at all if you do like this movie and you haven't seen the remake. Don't watch it. It's not good.
Doesn't have the heart this movie has.
That's the biggest thing. It's not like it's terrible. It just doesn't have the heart. I think they tried. I think they were trying with the satire, but they just not. It wasn't the same.
Yeah.
I think this worked better because of the timing. Obviously, there was a lot of pushback against Reagan at that time, and it just kind of worked. I don't know. I don't really know what to say, man. This is one of the best movies of all time, and it's crazy when you think about it, considering what the production company was and the budget and everything else.
Yeah, it's definitely top 10 action movie of the 80s. Would you go top 5? I think it's right there at the cusp of top 5.
Well, you've got, I mean, if you're just talking about action overall and you're blending genres like Terminator stuff, I would say Terminator's up there.
Terminator, Predator, Commando,
First Blood. I know I'm missing something probably, but they're going to involve Stallone or Arnold more than likely.
The Road Warrior, maybe with the
Road Warrior. This in my personal top 5 for sure. I think just listening to that list.
Yeah, that puts things in perspective.
Yeah, for sure. Top 5 movies of the 80s for sure, I think, as far as action wise. What do you rate this thing?
Out of 5?
Yeah, sure. 5.
I almost want to go 4.5. I'm gonna go 4.
You go 4?
Yeah.
I go 4.5. I'll go 4.5.
I'll go 4.5 if you go 4.5.
Yeah, let's go 4.5.
Okay.
I think you're even if you got to just rate it at the time, like not counting all the stop motion stuff that may not hold up for some people now. You got a couple little bugaboos in there, but this is a solid movie.
Great hero, some awesome villains,
great story, good effects, good violence. If you like that sort of thing, especially all around, the look of, he looks badass, even though it also kind of looks like this could be a ridiculous movie when you just look at the poster. The name is crazy, like you said. It shouldn't even be a thing, but it is. It just works on every level somehow, man. It's amazing, and it definitely, I think Peter Weller and the music and everything else just solidify it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that does it for us in Robocop. Let us know in the comments below what you think of Robocop. Hit the like button. We'd really appreciate it. It helps us out a lot. Be sure to subscribe. We got a lot of cool stuff coming out here real soon. Warehouse B episode 20. Big 20 is coming out. Samurai Cop. We're going to have a lot of fun with that stupid ass movie. So be sure and join us for that, because that's going to be a lot of fun. So until then, we're out of here.